Okay, so I want to kick this episode off by dropping a quote that is probably going to be the most useful quote for this entire episode, maybe even after. I don't know, depends on you. But let me just put it like this. When it comes to dating, don't aim to be intelligent, aim to be discerning with a hint of delusion, or should I say with a hint of delulu. And the reason I say all of this is going to be explained with the entirety of this episode, of which I know I've started with a quote, but I should have probably started with a nice intro because, where my manners. So, welcome to the Breakdown Podcast, where I talk about love, sex, and relationships from a guy's perspective, as well as a bunch of other guy shit. The man on the mic is Sir Denver B. This is a shorter, less edity, no instrumentally version of the podcast where I basically give one topic and share my thoughts on it because I'm on break, and this one might have been pre-recorded or it might be recorded while I'm on break. Either way, it's supposed to be a simpler way for me to create episodes without having to do the full thing. And it usually just means that I'm on like R&R and shit. But either way, thank you so much for listening. I hope you listen all the way till the end because even though it's not the full episode, there's still stuff to talk about. And in this particular case, it is the fact that there is a man who claims that most intelligent girls get angry easily compared to normal girls, and that's what usually impacts them when it comes to dating. Now, I have my thoughts on it, but granted, I listened to what dude got to say first. Now, the name of the guy is Keith Moki. He runs a channel on TikTok called Faceless. And he was busy talking about the idea of intelligent girls and how they get angry easily and how it can bring issues when it comes to relationships and they'll move from relationship to relationship. And the guy spewed a bunch of stuff that I don't know what to think about. Okay, I know exactly what I am to think about. It's just I would much rather let you listen to it first and then I get into my thoughts on it because this is something that definitely needs my input. But anyways, let me let the clip play, then I can get into my thoughts on it. So, without further ado...
Intelligent girls get angry more easily compared to normal girls. Now, this is a fact. And when you look at it, ask yourself in the situations of life when people are dating. When someone really gets angry so much, there is a high level of intelligence and... why? Because they analyze so much. And this is one of the reasons why you will find that intelligent women find it so hard to be able to be contained in a relationship. Why? Because there's always an aspect of anger and analyzing different things. Now, here's where the paradox is. Most men, they focus on peace. And you find that intelligent ladies or girls, they are very thought-provoking. They focus more on an angle of why are you doing this? Why am I not getting that? What is happening here? I can be by myself. You should not take advantage of me, which are beautiful, good things. But now it also has a repercussion because in one way or another, you'll find that beautiful ladies who are well educated, they have the money, they have, whatever life can offer. They also get angry on the basis of the many lies and the many things that men bring forth. And you understand, because men understand women fall in love by words, they will always throw in one word or another word, which is, a lie, just to win your heart. But intelligent ladies, you cannot win them by, those direct lies that every man gives. So you find there's a problem here. They want to be won, but then how do you woo such kind of a lady? You see, just a normal girl, you will tell her anything. Oh, I'll take you to Dubai, I'll take you to this, and she will believe. And even after the lie is over, you never took her to Dubai. She's there with you, pregnant, 2 children, and life has continued. You have never taken her there. And she'll be okay with it. But intelligent ladies, my friend, you cannot promise what you cannot offer. They will get angry. You promised me it's Valentine's Day and you never took me there. Why are you saying this? And now you find that men are afraid to commit to intelligent girls because they know they will have to pay the price. So it's both a bad and a good thing at the same time. And that's why love sometimes has to be foolish to some point. If you really want to fall in love, you have to be stupid to some point because there's no way that emotion can be logic. You understand? Logic is analyzing everything. But understand, the man is looking for the emotion. He's looking for how you feel when he tells you, I brought this flower for for you from Sahara Desert, is a lie. But you know how you laugh about it, how you say, wow, thank you, you really love me, and all those kind of, stuff that is just a lie. That is what makes love. So love is not meant to be serious. It's meant to be enjoyed. And that's why you find intelligent girls, go-getters, boss ladies, they find it hard to fall in love. Why? Because they analyze so many things just like men. And men tend to feel like they have a masculine energy, which is not really true, but it is what it is. All right?
Okay. Yes, intelligent women, they get angry easily. And the boss lady and the highly successful, high-flying woman, they get angry easily because they're very analytical and men assume they're masculine. Wow. Okay, let me just, even before I get into critiquing what the guy is saying, I don't know, maybe it's just me, although granted I don't think it is, but maybe it's just me. But this guy is just pandering, and he's pandering so heavily. Mans is glazing women that, claim to be intelligent, claim to be high-flying and successful and doing well for themselves. Man is just glazing them the entire time, not actually understanding exactly what he's talking about. And I know it sounds like I'm salty. It sounds like I have a problem with what the guy is saying. And, I do, but it's not like I have anything against the dude. I honestly don't give a fuck who he is. The thing is, it's just, Mans is basically just spewing content to appeal to a certain caliber of women. And as such, that's why I'm saying that this guy is pandering, and he is pandering quite heavily. Now, first of all, whatever fact that he's claiming about intelligent women getting angry easily, I don't know, maybe it's just me. Granted, I probably should do the research, but I feel like this can't even be classified as a fact, because for the most part, you and getting angry has nothing to do with your intelligence. Even dumb people get angry. Now, granted, I'm not saying that, he said that it's only intelligent people that get angry. It's just, when you look at his explanation of why he believes that intelligent people get angry and then calls it a fact, it's almost like saying that ugly guys get rejected more than good-looking guys when it comes to the dating market. And the truth of it is, well, yeah, you could say that that's the case if you want to generalize and oversimplify a bunch of shit, but for the most part, it's entirely dependent on the situation and environment that a bunch of those people are in. Because are you saying that intelligent women that are mostly introverts, basically do the office and home and don't go out a lot, get angry way more than women who are extroverts and are out in these streets? What the fuck kind of shit is that? This is the kind of shit that I'm looking at and I'm like, okay, if this guy is claiming that this is a fact and there's nothing to back up said fact, this is just a case of man basically pandering out here. And honestly, he's no different from the women that are usually classified as pick-me's because they just say a bunch of shit to appeal to men, even though most of that shit is basically stuff that's supposed to work to women's detriment. So for that reason, I find it hard to take what dude said seriously. But with that said, considering that he said a bunch of stuff and it was a fairly long clip, it was 3 minutes long to be quite honest, which I normally don't do, but I've made some considerations of late. Okay, first off, I feel like dude was using very extreme examples, and if you are falling for even one of those examples, you probably have bigger problems than, your intelligence. Because, when Mans is busy talking about being lied to about being taken to Dubai, I know maybe the guy's using expletives for the most part. I think that's what they're called. Expletives or expletives. I don't know. Potato, tomato, whatever fits in your githeri. When I listen to what guy is saying, there's a way that it just doesn't really seem like it would appeal to intelligent women, because why would any smart dude, or at least why would any dude that is trying to appeal to an intelligent woman, assuming that they are actually very intelligent, go in with a lie that's this basic? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that guys don't come up with such shit and, guys don't try making moves with very, very simple lies like this. It's just more often than not, if you are going to sell them on a lie and you are trying to feed them sweet nothings, there's usually some element of reality that's there. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that every guy uses it or every guy uses the same amount. It's just, for the most part, you know that if you are going to feed sweet nothings, it's either they are very good at being delulu or they are somewhere close to reality. So a pretty good example is, I can't imagine my life without you, or you're the best thing that's ever happened to my life. Shit like that. It sounds like bullshit if you think about it factually, but when you think about it with a hint of delulu, it's probably true, even though it may or may not be true. So that's probably one of the first things that I can probably note out. Secondly, no one is too intelligent to not be lied to. And I know if it was him that was busy saying this shit, he'd have said this is a fact, but I'm not even going to quote this and say that it's a factual thing. It's just that sometimes if the lie is so good, and usually this happens with even very, very intelligent people, they will basically find ways in their own heads to justify that lie being true and make it even seem more true than it actually is. And it is something that has actually been noticed when it comes to intelligent people. Like, intelligent people with the wrong information can actually be worse than dumb people with the wrong information. So, like I said, there's no one that's too intelligent to not be lied to. Regardless of the field of study, regardless of the kind of topic or environment, even intelligent people are susceptible to being lied to. Then, third, dating is a game of discernment, not intelligence. All right. The idea that if you are a very intelligent person, if you're a very smart person, you'll be able to choose better or you'll be able to get blah, blah, and blah is usually a pack of bull. Like, geniuses have dated people who are incredibly slow. Geniuses have dated people that have swindled them of money, that have treated them like shit, that have done shit behind their back and they never managed to actually find out for years, sometimes even decades. And at the end of it, when you look at the game of love and just dating as far as a practice is concerned, intelligence isn't one of the things that you really need for it. Okay, maybe some of it is good to a degree, but it's basically like a guy lifting weight so that he can go and sprint. It's great, but it's not like you need too much weight lifting for you to be a great sprinter, So essentially, this is one of those situations where not a bad metric to have, but it's not that useful for the vast chunk of everything that's there. Because when it comes to dating, you need to have more discernment than even intelligence. You don't have to be the most intelligent person. You just need to be able to discern what the other person's desires and goals are when it comes to you, when it comes to whatever relationship or situationship you're having. And at that point, if you have a little bit of delulu, for the most part, it can be great if, everything is aligned. But, even minus the delulu, you can at least know if it's something that's worth getting into or something that isn't worth getting into. But acting as though intelligence is something that you need so much of when it comes to dating is a wild thing. For the most part, your intelligence might actually not mean shit for a lot of people, or at least for a lot of situations when it comes to dating. Then, last but not least, delulu is a solulu. A little bit of delusion in the field of love, a little bit of delusion when you're getting into the dating market is actually pretty useful and quite good for you. Not in the sense of you should be completely delusional and take whatever sweet nothings you're being given or fall for whatever bullshit that is being served to you, but when you kind of look at it, with the dating market out here, as shitty as it is, with all of the stories that we hear all the fucking time, day in, day out, regardless of platform, everyone who decides to talk about dating talks about how rough it is out here. For you to actually be optimistic about the chances of finding love and getting into a good relationship, you have to be a little bit deluded into thinking that you can actually find it. And then, if you search and you're lucky, you might actually end up with some version of that can actually give you some level of fulfillment and happiness. But if you refuse to be even a little delulu about the entire thing, you won't even last in the dating market. You will basically be leaving every so often if you decide to go back in. If, your delusion actually kicks in every so often, you'll probably be going there, then you're like, what, this is a stack of bull, and you leave the dating market either never to return or as a recurring person that is coming to complain about how shitty the dating market is. Although, with that said, let me just conclude by saying that your intelligence might actually be a big tool in a lot of different fields, but it can be very misleading when it comes to dating and relationships, because oftentimes you'll end up misreading information or not understanding certain cues, or you'll be thinking up some shit out of the blues and basically using your own head to explain shit, which is bullshit. And a lot of that can actually work against you when it comes to relationships. So maybe you should stop thinking that your intelligence is that good that it'll make you that much better at like finding a much better partner, and just choose a little bit of discernment and the lulu. Also, considering that it was already put there, not all of you are that intelligent. Most of us are quite average, and honestly that's okay. But also, even beyond that, your intelligence isn't exactly fixed. It is something that you can actually improve over time and with a little bit of practice here and there. Although, then again, maybe I could be wrong about this, maybe I could be right, maybe I could be misleading people, maybe I'm pandering to the wrong people, and maybe I should be pandering to women. Either way, I want your thoughts on it. The DMs are open on IG. It is at the Breaktime _podcast. On Facebook, it is at the Breaktime Podcast. On X, it is at Bagaka the D. And on Bluesky, it is at the breaktimepod.bsky.social. Thank you so much for listening all the way till the end, and I will catch you guys on the next break.